What's good, YouTube? Giants fan 696 back here with a video today, and today's video is going to be a badge tier list in NBA 2K25. So as you guys know, I have tested every single badge in 2K25. As you can see on my page, we have a badge test out for all 40 badges. So now we are going to be putting them into tiers based on the results we got from each test. So as you guys can see on the screen, we have top 5, A, B, C, D, and bottom 5. So yeah, let's hop right into it. We're just going to be putting them in tiers based on the results we got from our tests, which is good because we have actual data to base off where I'm going to put each badge into what tier. So yeah, nothing's going to be my opinion really. It's just all going to be facts on what we had done during the test. So we're going to work from the bottom up. So let's kick it off with the bottom 5. And our first one in the bottom 5 tier is going to be Limitless. Now Limitless, we went 0 for 5 without the badge, and then on bronze we went 1 to 5. Silver we went 1 for 5, gold 1 for 5, Hall of Fame 1 for 5, and legend 1 for 5. So that is absolutely horrible results, which lands Limitless in that bottom 5 range. Again, 0 for 5 without the badge, and then 1 for 5 on every other tier. Not good results. So first one in bottom 5. Second badge in bottom 5 will be Float Game. Without the badge, we went 0 for 5. Then on the bronze tier, we also went 0 for 5. Silver and gold both went 2 for 5. And then Hall of Fame and legend both went 3 for 5. Again, just not a huge change there. If the legend tier is only going 3 for 5. Again, on all open floaters, we didn't even get to do any contested type floaters because we couldn't even go better than 3 for 5 on the legend version of the badge. And yet this badge was just, again, bad in total. So it lands us in bottom 5. Next bottom 5 badge is going to be Ankle Assassin. This badge, without it, we went 0 for 5. And then bronze, silver, gold, and Hall of Fame also went 0 for 5. So absolutely terrible there. Legend managed to go 3 for 5. Again, isn't great. Keep in mind this test was all done against a no defense badge player with 50 perimeter defense, 50 speed, and 50 agility. And if legend is only getting ankle breakers 3 for 5 times out of that, I think the badge is bad. And with all the other tiers going 0 for 5. So easy call to put Ankle Assassin there in bottom 5. Next one in bottom 5 will be Mini Marksman. Without the badge here, so our baseline, we went 1 for 5. Bronze also went 1 for 5. Silver and gold both went 2 for 5. And then Hall of Fame and legend went 3 for 5. Yeah, I mean, just not a huge difference here. If our baseline is 1 for 5 and then the legend version of the badge is giving us 3 for 5, that's only a 2-shot difference, making it not much of a difference from no badge to legend, which lands Mini Marksman in bottom 5. And our last badge in bottom 5 here will be Unpluckable. So no badge went 0 for 5 against Gold Glove. That's how we tested Unpluckable, was against Gold Glove. Bronze and silver also went 0 for 5 against Gold Glove. And then gold only went 1 for 5 against Gold Glove. Hall of Fame also went 1 for 5 against Gold Glove. And then legend managed to go 3 for 5 against Gold Glove. So if legend Unpluckable is only managing to go 3 for 5 against a Gold Glove, which is 2 tiers lower, that's already bad. Not to mention Hall of Fame Unpluckable went 1 for 5 against Gold Glove. So we were struggling with tiers below us a lot, which puts Unpluckable into bottom 5. So, and again, guys, something to keep in mind is if you have more questions about each of these badges and you're wondering why is he just going 0 for 5, 1 for 5, all of this, I have all the details in separate videos on my channel. This is purely just a ranking of all the badges. So feel free to check them out. Any badge you have questions on, I have a badge breakdown up on my channel for that. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, so that's our bottom 5 badges. Let's now go to our D tier badges. So kicking it off, and guys, also something else to keep in mind is that the tiers aren't in order. So the bottom 5 you see in the order on your screen, I didn't put them in order, I just put them in the tier. So those are the bottom 5 badges, not ranked in any particular order. Just something else to keep in mind. It'll be the same for all the other tiers here as well. Alright, so now we're going to go up to our D tier, kicking it off here with the Rise Up. So Rise Up, without the badge, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Bronze and silver also went 0 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. And then Gold and Hall of Fame Rise Up went 1 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Then Legend was finally able to go 5 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. And then after that, Legend went 2 for 5 against Hall of Fame Paint Patroller. Really, the Legend tier of the badge is what saved Rise Up. The Legend tier of the badge looked decent. I mean, it did very good against Gold Paint Patroller and almost a 50-50 against Hall of Fame Paint Patroller, which saved it from being, bottom 5. But the rest of the Rise Up tiers were pretty bad. The Legend tier definitely did raise it up a little bit, for sure. Next, we have Strong Handle in the D tier. So, with no badge, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Immovable Enforcer, just to get our baseline there. Then, Bronze, Silver, Gold, and Hall of Fame all went 0 for 5 against Gold Immovable Enforcer. But then Legend was able to go 5 for 5 versus Gold Immovable Enforcer. And then Legend also went 2 for 5 versus Hall of Fame Immovable Enforcer. So, kind of similar results between Rise Up and Strong Handle. The Legend tier saving it from finding a spot in the bottom 5. So Strong Handle finds itself in the D tier. Next one we have is Paint Patroller. So we tested Paint Patroller against Gold Paint Prodigy. So without the badge, it went 0 for 5 against that. Then Bronze and Silver Paint Patroller also went 0 for 5 against Gold Paint Prodigy. Gold Paint Patroller then went 1 for 5 versus Gold Paint Prodigy. And then Hall of Fame and Legend Paint Patroller both went 4 for 5 versus Gold Paint Prodigy. So the issue here is really that Gold versus Gold was bad. Gold Paint Patroller, again, only went 1 for 5 versus that Gold Paint Prodigy. And you needed Hall of Fame and Legend to be able to stop the Gold Paint Prodigy and not even fully stop it. Again, they went 4 for 5, not 5 for 5. And, the attribute commitment there would just be high. So yeah, it just wasn't too high on Paint Patroller there. Next one here, we have Physical Finisher. So Physical Finisher without the badge, we went 2 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. So that's our baseline. Bronze and Silver also went 2 for 5 against that Gold Paint Patroller. Then Gold went 3 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller, and Hall of Fame and Legend both went 4 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. So here, the biggest thing is that our baseline was 2 for 5 and that our Legend finished 4 for 5. So just not a huge change in between tiers there, landing Physical Finisher in the D tier. Next, we got Pogo Stick. So we tested this one with jumps in a shot clock. So that's why you won't hear me saying 0 for 5, 1 for 5, 2 for 5, any of that. This test was slightly different. So without the badge, we had 18 jumps in the shot clock. Bronze also had 18. Silver had 19. Gold had a 20 and a 21. So we did a tiebreaker there, getting a 20. So in total, the 3 times we tested Gold, we had 2 20 jumps in a shot clock and 1 21. Hall of Fame, we had the same thing. We had 1 21 and 1 20. But our tiebreaker happened to be a 21. So we had 2 21 jumps in the shot clock and 1 20 jump in the shot clock. And Legend, we had 21. So here, really just not a huge difference in between jumps per tier, with no badge having 18 and Legend 21. Landing Pogo Stick in the D tier as well. Next badge here in the D tier is going to be Post Up Poet. Now, Post Up Poet without the badge went 0 for 5 against Gold Post Lockdown to get our baseline. Then Bronze, Silver, and Gold also went 0 for 5 against Gold Post Lockdown. Hall of Fame then still did bad, going 2 for 5 against Gold Post Lockdown. But then Legend was able to save Post Up Poet here, going 5 for 5 versus Gold Post Lockdown. But then still only going 1 for 5 versus Half Post Lockdown. So again, struggling with tiers lower than it, lands Post Up Poet in D tier. Now our last badge in D tier here is going to be High Flying Denier. Without the badge, we went 0 for 5. Bronze and Silver also went 0 for 5. And then Gold and Hoff went 2 for 5. And then lastly, Legend went 4 for 5 in getting those blocks. So really the thing here is that you would need the Legend tier the badge for it to be good, which is bad. You would much rather a badge be good on, like, usable on Bronze than usable on Legend, because it's a much lower attribute commitment. So if a badge is only good on its Legend tier, that's just not very good overall. And again, Golden Hall of Fame went 2 for 5, so it really isn't good until Legend, where again, that's just a very high attribute commitment, landing High Flying Denier in that D tier. Alright, so let's go on to C now. First badge in C tier is going to be Hook Specialist. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5. Bronze and Silver also went 0 for 5. Gold went 2 for 5. Hall of Fame went 3 for 5. And Legend went 4 for 5. So for the most part, this was just kind of a mid-tier badge with a steady progression up the tiers. Not really too much to say about it. C is going to be C and B. I mean, those are the two middle tiers. Just kind of upper and lower average. I just think this is on the lower end of average, so that's what puts Hook Specialist in the C tier. Next, we have Post Lockdown. So without the badge, Post Lockdown went 0 for 10 against spin and against gold post badges doing spins and drop steps, which is why this one was 0 for 10. We did 5 spins and 5 drop steps at each tier. Bronze went 3 for 5 against spins, gold spins, but 0 for 5 against gold drop steps. Silver went 4 for 5 against spins and 0 for 5 against drop steps. Gold then went 5 for 5 against spins, but 0 for 5 against drop steps. And then at that point, we stopped doing the spins because gold was able to stop them 5 for 5. But then Hall of Fame went 2 for 5 against drop steps, and Legend went 4 for 5 against drop steps, finally getting an upper hand on the gold badge drop steps there. So yeah, I mean, really the thing here with Post Lockdown is it did a good job against the spins, but a bad job against the drop steps, kind of landing it here in C tier. So yeah, next one here in C tier is going to be Handles for Days. So here without the badge, we were able to do 3 behind the backs before our stamina bar emptying or blinking. Bronze and Silver both had 4 behind the backs. Gold had 5. Hall of Fame had 6 and Legend had 7. Again, just a steady increase in the badge going up here. Nothing special, nothing completely terrible. Landing Handles for Days in C tier. Next, we have Lightning Launch. So without the badge, it went 0 for 5 against Gold On Ball Menace. But then Bronze, Silver, and Gold also went 0 for 5 against Gold On Ball Menace. It took Hall of Fame Lightning Launch to go 4 for 5 versus Gold On Ball Menace. And then Legend was able to finally go 5 for 5 versus Gold On Ball Menace. And then it went 5 for 5 versus Hoff On Ball Menace, but then 1 for 5 versus Legend On Ball Menace. So clearly in this test, On Ball Menace was better than Lightning Launch. But I don't think Lightning Launch was completely terrible, as you can see from the results. It still did very good against the tier below it for the most part, but just when they went head to head, just couldn't hang with On Ball Menace. Landing Lightning Launch in the C or mid-tier type category. Next one in C is going to be Brick Wall. So without Brick Wall, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Pick Dodger to get our baseline there. Bronze and Silver also went 0 for 5 against Gold Pick Dodger. Gold also only went 1 for 5 against Gold Pick Dodger, showing that Gold Pick Dodger beat Gold Brick Wall, obviously. But then Hall of Fame Brick Wall went 5 for 5 versus Gold Pick Dodger, and it also went 3 for 5 against Hall of Fame Pick Dodger. And then Legend went 5 for 5 versus Hoff Pick Dodger and 3 for 5 against Legend Pick Dodger. So again here, Hall of Fame and Legend tier Brick Wall did look good, but Gold didn't. Gold down didn't. And again, it's just kind of the dilemma of if you need the higher tiers of the badge for it to be any sort of effective. I just don't think the badge is overall effective. If the badge is only useful from Hall of Fame and Legend, I mean, that's again just going to be a high attribute commitment. The better badges are going to be the ones that are effective at the lower tiers. So that's what lands Brick Wall here in C tier. Next one in C tier is going to be Off Ball Pest. So without the badge, we went 0 for 10 against Gold Slippery Off Ball. Then Bronze and Silver Off Ball Pest also went 0 for 10 against Gold Slippery Off Ball. Gold Off Ball Pest only went 1 for 10 against Gold Slippery Off Ball, losing the battle of the same tiers there. But then again, similar to a Brick Wall situation, Hall of Fame Off Ball Pest went 8 for 10 against Gold Slippery Off Ball, and Legend also went 8 for 10 against Gold Slippery Off Ball. So again, just a dilemma where you would need the higher tiers of the badge for it to even be remotely effective. So yeah, that's what lands Off Ball Pest in C tier. Next one in C tier, we got Layup Mixmaster. So without the badge, it went 3 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller, which is a high baseline. And then bronze, silver, and gold all were able to go 4 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Hall of Fame then went 5 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller, and then 3 for 5 against Hoff Paint Patroller. Then Legend Layup Mix Master went 3 for 5 against Hall of Fame Paint Patroller. So here, the biggest thing with Layup Mix Master is that even without the badge, just doing for this test, in this case we were doing Euro step layups, worked decently well without even having the badge, going 3 for 5, where it's only a one-shot difference between no badge and gold going 4 for 5. Just hurts Layup Mix Master, even though Hall of Fame was then able to go 5 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller and 3 for 5 against Hoff Paint Patroller. Again, it being so close to it on no badge, with the no badge baseline, just hurts Layup Mix Master, landing it in C tier here. And then our last badge in C tier is going to be Deadeye. So without the badge, it went 0 for 5 in making those contested shots we were shooting. Bronze and silver both went 1 for 5. Gold went 2 for 5. And then Hall of Fame and Legend both went 3 for 5, all against lightly contests. Again, just kind of the thing where I don't think in case of Deadeye we were shooting contested shots, right? I mean, that's just what Deadeye is. So going 3 for 5 I don't think is the worst thing in the world, but it's just the fact that you need just the higher tiers of the badge for it to be effective. Just kind of hurts Deadeye, putting it in C tier today. Alright, so kicking it off here in B tier will be Post Powerhouse. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Post Lockdown. Bronze and silver also went 0 for 5 versus that Gold Post Lockdown. Gold went 3 for 5 versus Gold Post Lockdown. Hall of Fame went 5 for 5 versus Gold Lockdown, but then 1 for 5 versus Hoff Lockdown. Legend went 5 for 5 versus Hoff Post Move Lockdown, and then also went 4 for 5 versus Legend Post Lockdown. So again, another case where you need the upper echelons of the tiers to for the badge to be really effective. But the difference here is that Gold did beat Gold Post Move Lockdown, moving it up into the upper echelon of the mid-tier categories into B. So Post Powerhouse leading off B. Next one here is going to be Post Fade Phenom. So without the badge, we went 1 for 5. Bronze and silver both went 2 for 5. Gold and Hall of Fame both went 3 for 5, and Legend went 4 for 5. Again, just another logical build up here, but just built up a little bit higher, making it a little bit better than the C tier badges, placing it in B today. Next we have Dimer. So without the badge, we went 1 for 5. Bronze and silver 2 for 5. Gold and Hall of Fame 3 for 5, and Legend 4 for 5. Again, and this was with a 63 ball with no shooting badges we were shooting off the Dimer with, so just something to keep in mind there. Again, just another logical build-up that built up pretty high, similar to Post Fade Phenom in the way it came up, so landing it in B tier. Next we have Interceptor. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5, testing against Gold Versatile Visionary. Bronze also went 0 for 5 against that Gold Versatile Visionary. Silver then went 2 for 5 against Gold Versatile Visionary. And then Gold, Hall of Fame, and Legend went 4 for 5 against Gold Versatile Visionary. So again, you would need the gold version of this badge for it to be effective, where if you notice with the C tier badges, you would need, for most of them, you would need either the Hall of Fame or Legend badge to be effective. In the case you're seeing many of these B tier badges, you would need the gold version, making those badges better, where you can save more attribute points. Again, just kind of my reasoning behind it. So Interceptor lands itself in B tier. Next one is going to be Rebound Chaser. So the way we tested this was against the Rebound Chaser tiers against each other. So Bronze Rebound Chaser went 3 for 5 against no Rebound Chaser. Silver then went 4 for 5 versus no Rebound Chaser. Then Gold was able to go 5 for 5 versus no Rebound Chaser, and then 4 for 5 versus Bronze Rebound Chaser. And then Hall of Fame Rebound Chaser went 5 for 5 versus Bronze Rebound Chaser, and Silver Rebound Chaser, and 5 for 5 versus Gold Rebound Chaser. And then Legend was able to go 3 for 5 versus Hall of Fame Rebound Chaser. So again, just kind of a logical build-up where the higher tiers of Rebound Chaser were able to do good. And even the lower tiers of Rebound Chaser were able to do good versus the even lower tiers of Rebound Chaser. So just landing Rebound in B tier. Next we have Box Out Beast, also in B tier. Similar type of test where we tested the Box Out Beast tiers against each other. So for bronze, it went 1 for 5 versus no Box Out Beast. Silver went 3 for 5 versus no Box Out Beast. Gold went 5 for 5 versus no Box Out Beast, and 3 for 5 versus bronze. Where then Hall of Fame went 5 for 5 versus bronze and silver, and then 2 for 5 versus gold, and then Legend went 2 for 5 versus gold. So a little bit worse test results than Rebound Chaser, obviously, but still I think relatively close enough to put them within the same tier of each other. So it lands Box Out Beast in B tier. So our last one in B tier here, guys, is going to be Pick Dodger. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5 going up against that gold brick wall. Bronze and silver then went 3 for 5. And then gold, Hall of Fame, and Legend all went 4 for 5. So again, one thing that just hurt Pick Dodger from getting into the higher tiers is that the Hall of Fame and Legend tiers were exactly the same as the gold tiers. Obviously, the gold tier is good, going 4 for 5, keeping it in that B tier. Bronze and silver, also not terrible, going 3 for 5, but just getting slightly edged out of A tier. But Pick Dodger would certainly be at the very top of B tier. Yeah, so let's go ahead now to A tier badges. Alright, kicking off A tier is going to be Shifty Shooter. So without the badge, we went 2 for 5, 3 for 5 on bronze and silver, and then 5 for 5 on gold. So again, if you go 5 for 5 with a badge on gold, knowing then you don't need a Hall of Fame or Legend version of the badge, you're able to go 5 for 5 on gold. I mean, that's a good badge, landing Shifty Shooter in the A tier. Next, we have Glove. So without the badge, we went 2 for 5 versus Gold Unpluckable. Bronze also went 2 for 5. Silver went 3 for 5, 4 for 5 on gold, and then 5 for 5 on Hall of Fame. So again, the Hall of Fame version went 5 for 5, 4 for 5 on gold, which is also very good. And even 3 for 5 on silver with a badge where you're going for steals is also very good, making Glove an A tier badge. Next A tier badge is going to be Bailout. So without the badge, we went 2 for 5. Bronze and silver went 3 for 5. And on gold, we went 5 for 5. So kind of similar to Shifty Shooter here, where if we're able to just go 5 for 5 on gold like that, where you don't even need the higher versions of the badge, it's a good badge. So Bailout lands itself in A. Next A tier badge is going to be Challenger. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5. Then on bronze, we went 1 for 5. Silver, 3 for 5. Gold, 4 for 5, with 3 heavies and 1 lightly. Hall of Fame went 5 for 5 with 4 heavies and 1 lightly. And then Legend went 5 for 5, all heavies. So again, this one's kind of similar to Glove, where we went gold 4 for 5 and Hall of Fame 5 for 5. And even silver being pretty good, going 3 for 5. So again, the lower tier badge that's usable makes the badge better, landing Challenger in A tier. Next A tier badge here is going to be Paint Prodigy. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Bronze went 2 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Silver went 3 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Again, if you're able to go win the majority of the reps against a higher tier of the opposite badge, I mean, that's already good. Gold then went 4 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Hall of Fame then went 5 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller, and 5 for 5 versus Hall of Fame Paint Patroller, and then 4 for 5 versus Legend Paint Patroller. And then Legend also went 4 for 5 versus Legend Paint Patroller. So again, guys, Paint Prodigy just looked very good going against Paint Patroller in general. And yeah, even the lower tiers here are usable. Yeah, so that lands Paint Prodigy in the A tier. Next, we have Slippery Off Ball. So without the badge, we went 1 for 5 versus Gold Off Ball Pest. Bronze also went 1 for 5 versus Gold Off Ball Pest. Silver went 2 for 5 against Gold Off Ball Pest. But then Gold went 5 for 5 versus Gold Off Ball Pest, and 2 for 5 versus Hall of Fame Off Ball Pest. Hall of Fame went 4 for 5 against Hall of Fame Off Ball Pest, and Legend went 4 for 5 also against Hall of Fame Off Ball Pest. So again, you look at the same tiers here between Slippery Off Ball and Off Ball Pest, and Slippery Off Ball won, making Slippery Off Ball a good badge, landing into A tier here today. Next one up, we have Aerial Wizard in A tier. So without the badge, it went 0 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Bronze and silver went 1 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Gold then went 4 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Then Hall of Fame went 5 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller, and Hall of Fame Paint Patroller, and Legend Paint Patroller. So obviously, the Hall of Fame tier of the badge was very dominant, going 5 for 5 against Gold, Hall of Fame, and Legend Paint Patroller. But the lower tiers were good as well, which is what lands Aerial Wizard here too. Again, the Gold going 4 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller shows the dominance that Aerial Wizard had over Paint Patroller, landing it in A tier. Next, we have On Ball Menace, finishing out our A tier here. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5 against Gold Lightning Launch. Bronze also went 0 for 5 against Gold Lightning Launch, but then Silver went 2 for 5 against Gold Lightning Launch, and Gold went 5 for 5 against Gold Lightning Launch, but 1 for 5 against Hoff Lightning Launch. Where then Hall of Fame On Ball Menace went 5 for 5 versus Hoff Lightning Launch, but then 0 for 5 versus Legend Lightning Launch, where then Legend On Ball Menace went 4 for 5 versus Legend Lightning Launch. So again here with On Ball Menace, whenever the tiers were equal between On Ball Menace and Lightning Launch, On Ball Menace won pretty much every time. Again, just making it a very good badge, putting it into the A tier today. Alright, so lastly we are going to do our top 5 badges. So first badge here we are going to do is Posterizer. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Bronze also went 0 for 5 versus Gold Paint Patroller. Silver then went 5 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller. Again, so a lower tier of Posterizer able to go 5 for 5 against a higher tier of Paint Patroller. Silver then also went 2 for 5 versus Hoff Paint Patroller. Again, almost a 50-50 where Posterizer's at Silver and Paint Patroller's at Hall of Fame. And then Gold Posterizer was able to go 5 for 5 against Hall of Fame and Legend Paint Patroller. So here, just showing how good Posterizer is, where lower tiers of the badge are completely dominating higher tiers of other badges. Again, Silver going 5 for 5 against Gold Paint Patroller, and then Gold Posterizer going 5 for 5 against Hall of Fame and Legend Paint Patroller, just showing how good that badge is. Next, we have Set Shot Specialist. So without the badge, we went 2 for 5. Bronze also went 2 for 5. But then with this badge, we went 5 for 5 on Silver. So if you only need a badge on Silver, where you don't have to worry about the attribute points for Gold, Hall of Fame, Legend, any of that, you can just get the badge on Silver and be good. 5 for 5. Top 5 badge in the game easily. So that's why Set Shot Specialist finds it in top 5. Next one in top 5 is going to be Break Starter. So without the badge, we went 0 for 5. We were just kind of dropping and bobbling the ball every time. But as soon as we put Bronze Break Starter on, we were being led to the basket cleanly. We had clean catches every single time. And Bronze looked the same as Legend when we were doing the test. So to me, you only need the Bronze version of Break Starter. I think anything above that is not needed. And again, same logic here. If you need only need a lower tier of the badge for it to be very good, then that makes it better. So that's why Break Starter finds itself in top 5. Next one, kind of similar, is going to be Versatile Visionary. Without the badge, we went 1 for 5, and Bronze, we went 5 for 5. And again, we tested Legend as well, where they looked the same, throwing those far alley-oop passes in our test. So yeah, kind of similar to Break Starter, where the Bronze version was just so good. It looked similar to Legend, landing it in top 5 here. Alright, and then our last badge here in the top 5 tier is going to be Immovable Enforcer. So without the badge, I actually went 5 for 5 against Gold Strong Handle. So as you guys, I'm sure, have noticed at this point, when we do our baseline, we do it against a gold tier of badge. But without the badge, I went 5 for 5 against Gold Strong Handle, like I said. So then we did no badge versus Hall of Fame Strong Handle, and it went 1 for 5. So then right away, we're starting off our test going against Hall Strong Handle. So Bronze went 2 for 5 against Hall Strong Handle. Silver went 3 for 5 against Hall Strong Handle. And then Gold went 5 for 5 against Hall Strong Handle. And then 0 for 5 against Legend Strong Handle. And then Hall of Fame Immovable Enforcer was then able to go 3 for 5 against Legend Strong Handle, where Legend was then able to go 5 for 5 against Legend Strong Handle. So again, it's just an example of where lower tiers of the badge are able to do very good against higher tiers of other badges. So like I said, Gold went 5 for 5 against Hall of Fame Strong Handle as an example. And then even when they were at the same tier, Legend went 5 for 5 against Legend Strong Handle. Even the fact that we had to start the baseline at a higher tier than usual already kind of speaks to how good of a badge a Movable Enforcer is, making it our final badge in the top 5 tier. So yeah, that's going to be our tier list, guys. Again, if you guys want to find out more about these badges at all, or kind of hear more about my reasoning behind these badges, I'm kind of giving you guys a summarized version, right? Or else the video would be 10 hours long of tier list. But I go in depth into all these badges in all of my other badge breakdown videos, as you guys can see on my channel. But yeah, hopefully this guys helps you out with knowing what badges to put on your players, you know, and how good they are. Again, this isn't just my opinion. This is all tests that I've done, and I'm just really giving you guys the summarized results in a tier list. So yeah, appreciate you guys tuning into this video. Let me know down below what type of content you guys want to see next, since yeah, we tested all the badges. Let me know any other tests you guys want to see, or just any other types of content in general. Check me out on Twitch. I've been streaming a lot of my team and Proving Grounds content on there as well, and I'm out.